Have you ever experienced something, a set of events that seemed completely unrelated, but happened together in such a strange, meaningful way that you couldn't explain it? The timing was so precise, so oddly perfect, you just stood there, not knowing how or why. But somehow you knew, this wasn't just a coincidence. And I'm not talking about the simple things, like thinking of someone right before they text you, or craving a certain food, and someone suddenly brings it. I mean the kind of event that feels too precise to ignore. It stops you in your tracks, makes you pause, and silently ask within, "Are you trying to tell me something?" This kind of moment has a name. It's called synchronicity, a meaningful coincidence that isn't really coincidental at all. It's when things unfold without a visible plan, yet everything fits together, precisely as if a rhythm had been waiting ahead of you, and you just walked right into it. Sometimes it arrives through an ordinary sentence, but somehow it answers the exact question in your heart. Or it shows up in a situation that forces you to change direction, and later, you realize that moment led you to something deeply important in your life. This isn't random. It's a frequency that's trying to speak, a wave full of intention and meaning, quietly woven into your path. Before I explain more about synchronicity, let me share a moment I still carry with me, because it happened during a time when I didn't believe in energy, I wasn't meditating, and I had no idea that certain words could find their way back to you. Back then, mobile phones weren't common. Television was still the main source of information. One day, I left the TV on while getting ready to leave the house. As I stepped toward the door, a voice from the program caught my ear. They were talking about Sotapanna in the modern day, especially among lay people. At that time, I didn't know what it meant. I just thought, that's a strange word, and walked out the door. I didn't expect to ever hear it again, but a few days later, it rained heavily. I called a taxi. After I told the driver my destination, he turned to me and said, "I am a Sotapanna." There was no greeting, no introduction. The first words out of his mouth were the exact same as what I had just heard on TV a few days earlier. He didn't speak in spiritual terms. He simply shared stories about his time as a monk, his practices, and how he observed the mind. Everything he said was filled with such stillness and depth that I couldn't stop thinking about it. About a month later, I picked up a novel I had left unfinished. On the very next page, a character said, "Perhaps I've practiced Dima to the level of Sotapanna." And right after that, came a full 7-page explanation of the word Sotapanna in a book that had nothing to do with Buddhism. That was when I knew this wasn't just a random coincidence. It was one word, trying to find its way to me. Stories like these may quietly slip into our daily lives. They don't have to be miracles or anything supernatural. I believe many people have experienced this too. Something happens completely out of the blue, yet the timing feels almost too perfect to simply ignore. That is synchronicity, an outer event that moves in rhythm with something inside the mind. No logical explanation required, yet the meaning is too clear to be dismissed. Carl Jung, the Swiss psychologist, once described a phenomenon in human life where something outside of us happens at the very same time we're thinking or feeling something within. Even though the two events appear completely unrelated, when they happen together, the meaning is often too precise to be mere coincidence. He called it synchronicity. These are not events with clear logical causes, but connections that happen on a feeling level, as if the outer world is responding to the quiet movements within our mind. He believed that the human mind might be communicating with something deeper, something greater than itself, and the events we encounter in life might simply be reflections of what's silently unfolding within us. Synchronicity is not just two things happening at the same time by chance. It's a moment when everything, the self, the thoughts, the emotions, and the environment move toward each other in perfect alignment, not to impress or surprise us, but to gently nudge us to pause and ask ourselves, am I overlooking something? What is the deeper point of this moment? Because at certain times in life, answers don't come in the form of words. They come through events to point us towards something in our heart we haven't dared to look at directly. Not every coincidence is meaningful. Some things happen and simply pass. There's nothing hidden in them. But if something lingers in your heart, even though it should have been over, try looking back more closely. Perhaps there's a part of you that hasn't been accepted, or a feeling that's never truly been heard. And perhaps what you're sensing is the voice of your deeper will, beyond even your subconscious, trying to ask, where is your truth? And where are you meant to go next? Meaningful coincidences like these aren't meant to be understood right away. They come to whisper, your life's picture is still incomplete. And perhaps there's something you're meant to fill in. Some people were never meant to meet, and yet they do, at a moment too precise to call random, as if the universe spun two people into collision at the exact point where they were both meant to arrive. Not because someone wrote the script, but because their minds were vibrating on the same frequency. From the perspective of energy, nothing happens without an initiating wave. Every thought, every feeling we emit is already writing the script of our life, in real time. And all the things that seem like mere coincidence are mirrors, reflecting what we're quietly asking for, without even realizing it. Sometimes, even a fleeting thought sends out a wave so far it's like a butterfly flapping its wings across the world, causing a storm in someone's heart 1,000 miles away. But remember, not every strange event carries deep meaning. Forms of Synchronicity 1. Synchronicity appears as an unexpected event with perfect timing. 2. It shows up as a dream that seems to predict something. 3. It comes through someone's words, echoing what's in your heart. 4. It hides in a sentence, quote, or sign that feels meant just for you. 5. It appears in symbols or repeating numbers that show up more than usual. 6. It flows through a song that starts playing just as you're thinking about something. 7. It arrives as a person who shows up at exactly the right moment. 8. It reveals itself when plans suddenly change and lead you to something that fits. So, we'd like to offer a simple guide to help you distinguish between true synchronicity and a regular coincidence, so you can reflect more clearly. 1. Don't rush to believe it's a sign just because your heart wants it to be. Pause before you decide. Sometimes, what we think is synchronicity is really just our wishful thinking. For example, you've already been wanting to quit your job, and then you randomly see the word freedom on a sign. Immediately, you tell yourself, this is it. The universe is sending me a message. But in truth, you were already waiting for an answer. So when something even slightly related appears, you instantly attach meaning to it. That's not synchronicity. That's overlaying our expectations onto what's happening outside. Here's a key clue. If you have to force it to fit, it's probably not the fit. True signs don't need heavy interpretation. The mind just knows. There's a quiet recognition without needing to make it mean anything. 2. If the feeling came first and the event followed, pay attention. Try to trace the sequence of what happened. Did you feel something first, or did the event happen first? Because with true synchronicity, the inner feeling always comes first. And then the external world responds, as if to answer something unspoken in your heart. For example, you've been feeling unsettled, like something's unresolved inside. You quietly long for a sense of clarity or direction. Then, while walking down the street, you suddenly see a sign that says, "It's time to begin again." If the event comes after the inner question, That's worth listening to. But if the event comes first, and you're just trying to make yourself feel something in response, pause and reflect again. Because nothing arose from within you to begin with. True synchronicity often arrives to respond to what your soul was already whispering. 3. If events line up in the right timing, more than once, don't ignore it. Ordinary coincidences tend to be random and scattered, but true synchronicity often comes in a sequence, a natural flow of moments, without anyone forcing it. For example, you're thinking about quitting your job. The next day, you see a sign that says, "It's never too late to start again." A few hours later, a friend messages, "There's an opening at your old company." Then a YouTube video pops up titled, "If you're hesitating about changing jobs." When things begin to line up like that, it may no longer be just coincidence. It might be a code coming to meet you at the exact moment when you're unsure and genuinely searching for clarity. 4. If a coincidence touches something inside you, with no logical reason, pause and look closer. Synchronicity isn't just something you see, it's something you feel. It often comes with a subtle pull in the heart, like something quietly nudging your awareness into stillness. For example, you hear a certain word, a lyric, or part of a strange conversation, and somehow it matches exactly what you've been thinking. Even though you weren't really paying attention at first, if you see or hear something and feel nothing, it may just be a coincidence. But if something inside stirs for no obvious reason, if you feel a quiet pause within, then your energy field may be picking up the code. 5. If it makes you feel, "I have to do something," it's probably not random. True synchronicity doesn't end at information. It comes with an energy that gently pushes you forward, without needing permission or explanation. Sometimes you don't even have to think long. You hear just one sentence and immediately know what to do. Call that person. Step out of the old cycle. Start something, finally. That kind of inner push isn't emotion. It's a quiet wave of energy that brings a clear knowing. It's time. 6. If you just thought about something and the answer comes too quickly, listen closely. Sometimes synchronicity responds to our questions before we even speak them out loud. Let's say you're silently wondering, "Should I keep trying with this person?" And just 10 minutes later, a song comes on with lyrics that clearly say, "Let them go." Or you come across a video titled, "Breaking up doesn't mean you lost. It just means it's not right." It might seem simple, but it's too specific, at too perfect a moment. No one knows what you were thinking, yet the answer arrives as if it already did. That's probably not just a coincidence. 7. If you keep listening, synchronicity keeps coming. If you ignore it, it quietly fades away. The signals of the universe are not given to just anyone. If your heart is open, they will continue to arrive. The more you pay attention, the clearer they become, deeper, more precise, and more frequent. But if you start to tune out, to stop listening or stop believing, the signals will quietly disappear from your life. Until one day, you may feel like, "Nothing is guiding me anymore." No clear signs, no inner clarity, no sense of what feels right. It's not because you lack the ability, it's because you stopped listening, as if you turned off your inner signal. And when that happens, the messages are passed on to someone else who is ready to receive. Many people ask, why do meaningful coincidences matter? We invite you to see it from another angle. Sometimes what seems ordinary is actually a quiet signal reflecting something back to you, more than you realize. Like a mirror, like a radar, sometimes like a silent alarm, reminding you of what your mind is sending out into the world. Because synchronicity doesn't come from what we ask for consciously. It comes from the energy waves we send out unknowingly. The universe responds through events. Want to know what you're really sending out? Don't just look at your thoughts, look at your life. Who's showing up in this season? What patterns are repeating? What emotions are looping in your heart? All of it is a reflection of the energy you're putting out. And what we call coincidence is simply the echo knocking gently at your door. So perhaps synchronicity is not just a coincidence, but a voice, a tool that can truly support us. 1. It helps us listen to our inner voice. When something happens at the perfect moment, it's not just a sign to look outward, but a reflection calling us inward. A quiet invitation to listen to something in the heart we may have silenced for too long. 2. It helps us observe the energy we're sending out. Events that seem random often reflect the vibration we're transmitting. They reveal what our inner waves are quietly asking the world, even without our awareness. 3. It shows us where life feels incomplete. Synchronicity often arises in the places where something is unresolved within. Maybe there's something we haven't accepted. Maybe there's something we haven't been honest about. It doesn't come to point fingers, but to pause us so we can ask the right questions. 4. It shifts the way we live, from reacting with emotion or overthinking to living with presence. It teaches us to listen instead of control, to observe instead of judge. And that is the beginning of living mindfully, not just emotionally. 5 ways to let synchronicity codes flow into your life. 1. Step out of rush mode and return to the present moment. The universe doesn't send signals to minds stuck in the future or looping in the past. Synchronicity flows where there's space to receive. The calmer you are, the clearer the waves become. 2. Ask the universe, then stop thinking and wait. Ask from a place of openness. For example, should I move forward or step back? If this is right for me, may I receive a sign? And then, don't go searching, just observe. The answer will come in an unexpected form, but you'll know immediately when it arrives. 3. Keep your energy field positive and stop resisting what is. If you want the universe to speak to you, stop asking, "Why isn't anything going my way?" Instead, say, "I'm ready to listen." When you are still enough, you will hear the voice that has long been buried under your own emotions. 4. Honor the small signals. Don't wait for epic, miraculous signs. Start noticing the little things. You think of a song, and it plays. You think of someone, and they text. Don't overlook it. Whisper a quiet, "Thank you." It's as if the universe is asking, "Do you even notice?" Those who value the small signs will receive greater ones, again and again. 5. Do something aligned with your true self every single day. This is the fastest path. The universe responds to those who live in alignment with their true essence. You don't have to be successful. You don't have to be perfect. Just do what feels right for your heart, every day. And you'll move with the rhythm of the universe without needing to rush at all. Synchronicity is not fantasy. It's not fiction. It is a powerful compass for those brave enough to listen inward and ready to respond to the universe as their most authentic self. Those moments that seem too perfect, too timely to be random, are the universe reaching out, not to impress you, but to gently ask, "Are you ready to listen deeply?" It's not supernatural. It's resonance, a frequency you begin to feel when your heart becomes still enough to receive. You don't have to go looking, just open up, because every well-timed moment might be bringing you closer to the truth of who you really are. And perhaps some rhythm in this video has stirred something within you. You might have felt the wave of a coming change, or stumbled upon a quiet answer to a question you didn't even know you were asking. We hope that every meaningful coincidence becomes a little piece of the puzzle, helping you see the picture of your life more clearly, more completely, in a way your soul is finally ready to understand.